For over 100 million years, termites and ants have been locked in a conflict that predates human civilization by tens of millions of years. Two social insects competing for the same resources, for the same territory, and across that incomprehensible span of time. Both species have evolved increasingly sophisticated defenses and offensives to survive. But this isn't a war with a clear victor or a final surrender. It's a grinding, evolutionary arms race where victory is always temporary and defeat is never absolute. And understanding how this war works requires understanding how both species adapted to survive it. Because the strategies termites and ants developed aren't just about winning individual battles, they're about persistence in the face of an enemy that will never stop coming. The first thing to understand is why this war matters to either species. Termites have existed for roughly 150 million years, building sophisticated colonies in wood and soil, farming fungus, and creating some of nature's most complex architectural structures. Ants arrived later, but adapted faster, developing superior coordination and communication systems. What started as simple competition for the same food sources and nesting territories evolved into something more deliberate over millions of years. When termites and ants share the same forest, the same area of soil, the same fallen log, conflict becomes inevitable. But here's the fascinating part. Neither species can simply eliminate the other. They've tried for 100 million years and failed, which means both must have developed strategies effective enough to persist despite constant pressure. Let's start with termite defense because termites are, fundamentally, in a defensive position. Termites are soft-bodied insects with relatively delicate exoskeletons, and they live in permanent colonies, massive mounds, or underground chambers that contain thousands or millions of workers, a breeding queen, and the next generation. They can't flee when attacked. They can't abandon their colony and restart elsewhere. Their entire existence depends on holding their position, so termites evolved soldiers. These are specialized termites, larger than workers, with massive mandibles, and in some species, chemical weapons integrated into their bodies. When a termite colony is attacked, soldiers mobilize to defend the breach. They bite invaders, spray defensive chemicals, and in extreme cases, some termite species have soldiers that actively rupture their own bodies to spray toxic compounds that kill attackers. It's a suicide defense, but it works because the colony survives even if individual soldiers die. But termites developed more than just combat specialists. They developed architecture. Their mounds aren't random structures. They're engineered defense systems with multiple chambers, chemical signals that spread through tunnels, and strategic bottlenecks that force attacking insects into defensive positions. When a predator penetrates the outer wall, it doesn't find a direct path to the queen or brood. It finds a maze. When ants attack a termite mound, they don't swarm through one opening. They encounter layered defenses, sealed chambers, and soldier ants specifically positioned in defensive choke points. Termites also invested heavily in chemistry. They evolved the ability to detect intruders through pheromone signals, communicate threats across vast distances through their tunnel systems, and, in some cases, produce antibiotics that protect their fungal gardens from contamination. This chemistry isn't just for farming. It's part of their defensive arsenal. A termite colony that detects an incoming threat can mobilize its entire population, marshal its soldiers to specific breach points, and prepare for combat before invaders arrive. Now shift perspective to ant offensives because ants have adapted to break through every termite defense. And the evolution goes like this. Termites evolved soldiers, so ants evolved to swarm overwhelming numbers. Termites evolved chemical defenses, so ants evolved pheromone communication that allows them to coordinate attacks more effectively than termites can coordinate defenses. Termites built mounds, so ants evolved to attack from multiple angles simultaneously. Overwhelming termite defenses through sheer scale rather than through individual strength. The ant advantage lies in flexibility and numbers. A termite colony is bound to its mound. It's their home, their fortress, their entire existence concentrated in one location. An ant colony can split, relocate, and attack from new directions. Multiple ant species can attack the same termite colony from different angles. Worker ants can quickly assess where defenses are weak and concentrate their forces there, communicating through pheromone trails that guide thousands more workers to the breakthrough point. Consider the scale difference. A termite soldier is specialized for combat, but there's a limit to how many soldiers a termite colony can produce. They're expensive biologically, requiring significant resources to grow. An ant colony can produce hundreds of thousands of workers, many of which are capable of combat when needed. When driver ants or army ants attack a termite colony, they come in waves numbering in the millions. The termite soldiers fight back, some die, many ants die, but eventually the sheer numerical pressure overwhelms the termite defenses. The mound gets breached, workers and brood get carried out, and the termite colony experiences catastrophic loss. This is where you might think ants would win decisively. And sometimes they do. A successful ant raid can devastate a termite colony. But, and this is crucial, the termite colony doesn't disappear. Workers rebuild, the queen survives, the colony recovers. And that recovery is its own form of winning. Here's why these wars never produce a decisive outcome. Termite colonies have redundancy built into their survival strategy. The queen can lay thousands of eggs to replace lost workers. Secondary reproductives can take over if the primary queen dies. The mound structure means that even if an outer section is breached and looted, the core of the colony can seal itself off, isolate the damaged areas, and maintain continuity. A termite colony that survives an ant raid might lose 50% of its workers, but it's still a functioning colony. The ants, meanwhile, have invested enormous energy in the assault. They have suffered losses themselves, spent weeks or months preparing for and executing the raid, and now they need to move on and find new food sources. The termite colony is damaged but intact. The ant colony is hungry and depleted. Neither side achieved total victory, which means the war continues. This is the core reason why these conflicts never end. Neither species can eliminate the other because both have evolved survival strategies that make them too resilient to kill. Termites can't destroy all the ant colonies in their territory because ants are nomadic and adaptive. They don't stay in one place long enough to be fully eradicated. Ants can't destroy all termite colonies in their forest because termite mounds are fortified and their colonies are too well distributed. So instead of war ending, it becomes eternal. A termite colony survives an ant attack and has to rebuild and prepare for the next one. An ant colony raids a termite mound, gains resources, and will eventually encounter another termite colony and attack again. The war that started 100 million years ago will continue as long as both species exist. Not because either is winning, but because neither can win completely. The reason this matters is that it reveals something important about how evolution actually works at this scale. For 100 million years, natural selection hasn't produced a winner in this conflict because there can't be a winner. The species that develops the perfect termite defense would outcompete other ants and become evolutionary dead end when circumstances change. The termite species that evolves the perfect ant defense might become too specialized to handle other threats. Both species survive by not being perfect, by maintaining flexibility, by constantly adapting to each other's new strategies. And that's the 100 million year war in a nutshell. Not a march toward victory, but an eternal cycle of evolution where both sides get stronger, both sides adapt, and neither side ever achieves the total dominance that would end the conflict. It's a war that can't be won because winning would mean extinction for one species, and evolution has shown that coexistence, however hostile, is the stronger strategy. Now you understand the history of this conflict and why it persists. But you might be wondering what these tactics actually look like in practice. How exactly do ants execute raids with such precision? What are the specific strategies that make them so effective? If you want to see how ants have perfected these tactics into an art form across millions of years of warfare, check out the last video where I break down exactly how ants have perfected the art of war. Because understanding the tactics is key to understanding how this 100 million year conflict actually plays out.